How many parents actually check the phones of their children? If as a parent, if you don't have control over what your child is doing, if your child is in secondary school, is already providing for him or herself, you have a son that is already using the kind of phone that you can't even afford, how then do you parent the child?
All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another interesting episode of TTS Podcast. Here on TTS Podcast, we discuss everything that has to do with youth and teenagers. And as we do it on a regular basis, we bring experienced individuals, professionals to speak with us and share their knowledge on different matters or issues that has to do with or that is of concern to both the youth and teenagers. And on today's episode of TTS Podcast, I have another special guest here with me, the person of Susan Adedara. Susan Chioma is a child abuse and adolescent therapist. She's also a family therapist, a life coach, and she has experience or she has offered her services in regards to abuse and substance treatment. So permit me to welcome no other person but our guest for today, again, the person of Susan Adedara. It's nice to have you here, Susan.
Yeah, it's nice to be here too. Thank you.
All right, and thank you for honoring our call.
You're most welcome.
All right. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, we would like to talk about one topic that has been of importance to everybody, especially the young ones, and that has to do with the power of habits, right? So we want to talk about what is the power of habits, because of course I know that you have your experience when it comes to children, adult abuse, and all of those stuff. But now let's just a little bit tilt to, the power of habit, because we know that habit also contribute to some of these issues and challenges that the youth and teenagers are currently, facing. Okay, so let's look at what is daily routine, because most times when we talk about habit, we talk about daily routines. So what are daily routines?
Okay, thank you. So daily routines are simply activities or tasks that one performs daily or at specific points of the day. So they're just routines, something you do every day or you have a specific time of the day that you do them.
Okay, thank you so much for that. It was so brief, but regardless, it has substance in it. Moving on to what daily routine is, since there are daily tasks and daily activities that we engage in, can daily routines impact life? I mean, can it shape a future? Because people believe that it's just the daily activities, it's just what I do, on a daily basis. So, but how can does these daily routines move or shape future?
Yes. Daily routines, they shape future. In fact, they determine most of the time what the future holds for us. So, one of the ways I can help to shape our future is that it can increase productivity by helping us stay focused and accomplishing more. So, let's say, for instance, you made it a goal that every morning I want to exercise. Let's take those who love to exercise. For instance, you want to exercise every morning. You set your time and you do it every day. You see that when you start as an adolescent, you go into youth and then you become an adult, you realize that you are fit, you are healthier than every other person. Another habit is maybe you love to journal, which is very important, and I think everybody should journal. If you start journaling as a child, journaling helps you to reflect on yourself. You take cognizance of your emotion. It helps you to dot your I's and cross your T's. So if it is journaling, for instance, maybe journaling, you can journal. There are different types of journaling. You can journal about your dreams. You sleep, you wake up. Oh, as you wake up every morning, you journal. Maybe you wake up in the morning and you say, oh, an idea came to my mind. Even if it's not going to be battered immediately, but you write it down. Okay, I could start up this business. You don't know how at that point in time, but the idea just came. And as you wake up, you journal, because we find out that Most times when we wake up in the morning, we are refreshed, we get inspirations. If you ask a lot of authors, a lot of people write early hours of the morning, because sleep means you have slept, your brain is relaxed, you're waking up, you're a new person, new idea. So as the idea comes to mind, you write it down, because there's a popular saying that the faintest ink is better than the best brain. The reason why a lot of people do not accomplish goals in life is because they keep it up there. Oh, I will remember. And yes, it's not like the brain does not store. The brain naturally store. But how do you have the ability to recall that thing when you want to recall it? So that's where journaling comes in. So if you take journaling as a habit, you can see that something you wrote 10 years ago, as long as it's a book, it's handy. If it doesn't get stolen, it doesn't get burnt, it doesn't get soaked in water, that book will be the same 10 years, 20 years. And you go back to your younger self, maybe you're now 28, and you want to see, oh, what did I write when I was 18? And you go back and say, oh, so I said I was going to start a podcast. Maybe then you didn't have the financial capability to put those things into place, but now you can do them. But you don't even remember that you ever had such idea. So when you now see that at 28 you are implementing the idea that came to you at 18, so you see that yes, it can help us to accomplish more. It can also help us develop healthy habits. Healthy habits. If maybe you develop a habit and say, okay, early in the morning, there's this thing I learned that when you wake up in the morning, you drink warm water. Some people, I even learned that you can mix lime. Lime is in season now. When you have lime, just drop a few of it inside a cup of warm water in the morning. So drinking that in the morning, because according to them, it helps the body to balance the acidity. That's alkaline. And you say that you lead a more healthy life when you are consistent with it. Also, ordinarily, drinking warm water first thing in the morning, it helps to rinse your system, cleanse your system. You see that you're going out a whole person. So habits are very important. They help us to distress, to help you to reduce stress. You are less anxious when you know that, okay, this is how my day is supposed to go. If you already have an itinerary for the day, I want to do this at this time, I want to do this at this time, I want to do that, you are less anxious. You know that, okay, when it is 11, I'm supposed to be here. You prepare yourself ahead of time. You are not in a hurry, you are not in a rush, you are not anxious. So yes, habits, they are very, very important for us, and it's something that everybody should stick to.
As you were talking about habits and all of those other things that you mentioned, I could vividly remember many years ago when I was working with one of my formal direct manager at the time, and then she would show me list of to-dos, activities for the day, things that she intend to achieve. She had them written down and stuff like that. And that small event of her showing me what the list of things that she intends to do, well written down and spelled out, taught me the habit of planning your day, not just planning your day, thinking through how your day should run, but explicitly writing your day, tasks and things that you need to do for that day. Thank you so much for that contribution, and for reiterating the fact that it is important that we journal or write out to-dos. That means things that we're meant to do for the whole of the day, and plan out, if possible, a week, month, and even year. All right. So moving on to the next question. Let's quickly look at we want to look at the negative sides of habit. Yes, we know that you have your experience when it comes to child abuse, youth drug use, and all of those things. So can you tell us how habit contribute to some of these negative things? Because we understand that a lot of time, before a youth or someone can become a drug addict, there must have been an habit, a daily habit or monthly or weekly habit that led to that situation. So can you tell us about how negative habit also builds up, and how we can walk around, for those who have started, these habits, how they can walk their way back to a better position?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So, you permit me to refer to a video that I don't know if it's trending, but maybe I'm on a platform where they protect children and all that. So there's this video, I think I've also seen it on TikTok or something. There's this video where a young lady was giving a baby one of these sachet alcohol. For that woman, she is not trying to harm her baby. Let's understand that this is probably a child. She drinks ordinarily, but the baby probably doesn't sleep at night. And we know that what alcohol does is that most of the time it tells you to relax, and then relax, sleep is part of relaxation. So you can see that this baby is used to taking this substance, takes this thing, and then the baby will sleep. Now it becomes a routine, a pattern. Maybe she doesn't do it every day, maybe it's twice in a week, three times in a week. Now it will get to a point where the baby will be expecting it, the baby will be hooked on this substance. Without this substance, this baby cannot sleep. While she feels she's trying to help her baby sleep, she does not know that her habits, that means ordinarily as a mother, she drinks. Another experience I've had is I've been to an event where I saw a mother, these habits that mothers have, that once I'm eating something, I give my children. Once I'm giving something, my child is there, especially, children, maybe from the age of 0 to 4, 0 to 5, they're always around their mothers. Whatever I'm eating, I give to my child. So also at this event, this woman was giving, a substance. I don't want to name it, a substance. And then she was drinking it, and the boy came running to her, maybe about 3 plus. And he collected the thing and he was drinking, and I was amazed. And I don't know why I was the only one that was surprised in that garden, because people around there knew her. It was like, a garden on the streets. People knew her, they were neighbors, and they were like, it's not a big deal. But I was like, no, that's wrong. You shouldn't give a boy of this age. And she said, no, it's not a big deal. He takes it, and you can see that this boy is already a pro. He's taking this thing, and he's not feeling anything. He's just taking it and he's okay. And I looked at the woman and I'm like, do you know the long term effect of what you are doing? Those are habits that we form unconsciously, we are impacting. So most of this substance, when you talk about children, you talk about adolescents and the youths, most of these ones, they got them from home. You see that they live in an environment that is toxic. People are, they have uncles, they have brothers, aunties that are taking them, their parents are taking them. And when they give them maybe a bottle to go and keep, they get to the kitchen, they drain the bottle. When their parents are not around, there's a bar, they go there, they take a sip of this, a sip of this, and it's not easily noticeable. So they can actually mix like 4 5 different types of drinks, and the parents do not notice because they are taking just little, and the parents get there, they drink, and you just assume that, oh, my child is not taking, until that child becomes hooked, and before the parents will realize that the damage has already been done. So whatever habit it is that we have developed, okay, if you have also developed a healthy habit that, okay, when I wake up every morning, I exercise, you see that those are positive habits. But when it comes to negative habits, it starts small. It starts small. You start taking it. That's why you see that mostly when you go to schools now, check the bags of most of the boys. You see all these sachet substances in their bags. And I look at our future, this generation, this Gen Z, let's look at them in the next 20 years. What will be the impact? These are habits that they have started small. Oh, anytime I take it, if my head is aching me, it tells me to relax. Then it becomes a habit. Anytime your head is aching you, until you take that particular substance, you don't feel calm. I want to read. Because I want to read, I need to be at a particular, this particular drug or substance helps me get to this particular state, so that when I read, I can comprehend. Or I want to stay awake at night. I'm a student, I'm reading. Because once I take this, it helps me stay awake, I'm strong, I can comprehend, and it becomes a habit. The person becomes hooked. When the person is not taking it, there's something we call withdrawal symptom. The person, develops withdrawal symptoms. which can also have its negative effect. So these things, them start little, little, little. It starts small. Eventually, it becomes something big, something we are hooked on, something that without it, one can't function. That's why we must be conscious of the habits we develop, especially as children. And this is where parenting comes in. Parenting is very important. As parents, are we intentional parents? Are we actually watching our children? How many parents can boldly say that when my son that is in secondary school comes back, I can take his bag when he's not, aware of it and search it? Or my son comes back and I tell my child, bring your bag, I want to check the content of your bag. How many parents actually have time to do that? Because these are the ways we can help them curb those negative effects and habits by being intentional, by being there for them, by watching them, because really they feel they know what they are doing, but they truly do not know what they are doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I was just listening attentively to every of the words that you mentioned, and I was just able to get that a lot of times, simple, small things like what you just said, the little drops of these substances over the time, become the big issues that we currently have. Okay, so let me move on. Let's digress a bit to the parents, because yes, you have mentioned parents needs to be intentional with their children. Now, another thing is in this time of Gen Z, or in this generation, there are so many ways that even children themselves, the young youth, are able to hide these habits, right? You see a lot of them because we now have online, we have so many things that happens. So there are ways that they can actually hide these things from their parents, right? So as an experienced therapist who has advised and helped and the treatment of drug abuse and all of those other issues, what is your advice, or what are those things that you can tell parents to always be aware of, or what are the red signs that they need to pay attention to?
Most of them, how many parents actually check the phones of their children? They have phones. Your child has a phone and it has a password. You can't access your child's phone. Any child that is living under your roof that is below 18, the rule must be that, although some parents can't actually put that rule because they are not the ones that buy the phones for their children. This is the age where there's a lot of ways that they can make money online. So if as a parent, if you don't have control over what your child is doing, how then do you parent the child? If a child is in secondary school, is already providing for him or herself, you have a son that is already using the kind of phone that you can't even afford. So at that point, how do you? So as a parent, first of all, I think it starts from small when they are young. Don't say, it's a small child, it's not time for training. Training starts the day you give birth to your child. The day the child begins to sit, you begin to inculcate the right manners into that child. What do you want? Are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim? Are you impacting what you know into that child? Every family is supposed to have that. That, okay, what do we stand for as a family? Do we stand for godliness? Do we stand for honesty? Do we stand for morals? You should sit down with your family and carve them out. Print them, print it, let it be printed. If possible, frame and hang in a place where everybody in the home knows that, okay, the Adedara family, this is what we stand for. And this family, we are honest no matter what's happened. We stand for justice. We are godly. It means if it's a godly family, there are places you must not go to. There are things you cannot do, which must have been discussed. Why? Don't let it be that only mommy and daddy came up with that guidelines. It's like a guideline. If you have developed them when you got married, as the children get older, you can edit them, ask for their own input, and add to them. Then, as parents, how intentional are we? Do we take time to check what they are doing? When they go out, do you even say, okay, I'm on leave, I want to take time off? Go to their rooms, check their wardrobes, check their lockers, check whatever it is, wherever they keep their things. Because the truth is, when they know that as a parent, you don't even know what's going on with them, they are going to bring those substances home. The bags they carry to school, do you check them? Do you know the kind of friends they keep? Do you know their friends? Do you know where their friends live? Are you sure as a parent that, okay, if my child is closing from school at 4 p.m., if your child, there are a lot of children that go home on their own, they don't use school bus, their parents don't do school run. Are you sure? Can you confidently say as a parent that when my child closes from school, I am sure that my child is going home, my child is not going somewhere else? Because all these things, these substances are sold everywhere. Malams are selling them. Are you friends with your child? That's another thing. Are you friends with your child? Be their friends. There's this saying in Yoruba that they will say, Taba for what we afifamora. That means when you scold the child with the right hand, with the left hand, you draw that child closer. What parenting style are you adopting? Do you even know the parenting style you are using for your children? Because as far as I'm concerned, you don't use just one parenting style. It is a blend of styles. At some point, you have to be permissive. At some point, you have to be authoritarian. Another point, you have to be authoritative. What do you actually know the style? Do you know the implication of the parenting style that you are using for your children? Back then, when we were growing up, the style that was prevalent was the authoritative style. Authoritarian, when they tell you sit down, you nobody will explain to you why you're sitting down. You don't question, you just sit down. If they tell you stand up, but you can't use that for children of this age. So as parents, are we intentional? Because that's the most important thing. It's not a question of how I'm a career woman, I'm a business woman, I'm running after my career, I'm running after my business. You wake up in the morning, you come back late, you don't know what your children are doing, you don't know where they go to, you don't know who their friends are. No, that is not it. As parents, we must be intentionally present in the lives of our children. Be there for them, support them, be their friends, give them listening ear. Let them be that it is from home that they learn. When you talk about substance, do you even sit as a mother and talk about substance abuse? What are the kind of substance that can be found commonly in the environment? Nigeria is one of the countries that is rated high in substance abuse. They are all over the place. Virtually every malam kiosk, they sell these things. They are everywhere. So it's not something hidden. Do you tell your child the implication of consuming them? Have you ever showed them any video? They are all over the place. Because when you make them see the implication of doing it early, when they learn from home, then it's very easy for them not to be in place, because the pressure from outside is massive. So as parents, we have a lot to do to
You.
support children.
All right, thank you so much for that. And I'm very sure that parents who are listening as well would have, learned one or two things from some of the things that you just shared. Okay, so let's move back to the teenagers, that's the youth themselves. Okay, so I am going to ask this question because we have this story of a young lady who unintentionally got addicted to a particular drug, right? And reason being that it was just a cough syrup, actually. She just noticed that at some point she was having she had cough. And then when she takes the medication, she get relieved. And over the time, because of the relief she was getting from the cough syrup, which was the medication at the time, she got used to it that every day if she doesn't take the cough syrup, which was a medication at that time, she doesn't feel good. But over the years, she has now become addicted to the cough syrup itself, and it has now become an abuse. And at the time when we spoke, she was still finding it very difficult to get out of that situation because herself, she has tried a lot of different measures just to help herself through, but she's not getting free. She's not free from this addiction. Okay, so what is the essence of all of this habit? Because for her, it wasn't intentional. It was just a medication that was, prescribed for her use at the time she had cough issues and stuff. So, what are these things that we need to also pay attention to? Because most times, children or young ones have got hooked on medications like this, and it has become an abuse. So, can you shed more light to areas of these habits and how to really measure these things, youth themselves, because these are without even the parents, right? So, as a child or a youth, how do you measure some of these things?
Okay, thank you very much. So first of all, people, okay, let me not say adults, adolescents, teenagers. that are addicted, they don't plan to get addicted. It's just something they take to find relief. And when they realize that, oh, this thing gives me relief, they take it. Not knowing that most of the drugs that are produced, there are addictive substances in them. Those are the substances that actually give us relief. So when a medical doctor is prescribing, you see, they will write 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, 5 days, 7 days. There's a reason. The doctor knows that, okay, you have this. So you need this. After 7 days, you're okay, don't take it again. But for most of them, like this person you have discussed now, it's because she found relief. Now, the question is, what was the cough syrup doing for her? Maybe apart from taking away her cough, it helped her sleep, because most of these cough syrups, they have laxative substances in them. So maybe it helps her sleep. So maybe ordinarily she finds it difficult to sleep. She's the kind of person that would lie on her bed and she's tossing to and fro. It takes her time. But once she takes the cough syrup, she gets relaxed and she falls asleep. So because she has identified that this makes me sleep, now, when she can't sleep, she'll go and take it, and now she's hooked, because that's what the brain does. Once the brain sees that, oh, you take something, you get relief from it, it helps you release positive hormones, the brain will begin to crave for more and more. That's why people get hooked on substance. Now, the point is that she needs to identify what it does for her. What does it do? Does it make me sleep? Now, if the point is that it makes her sleep, what can she replace that with? Are there other ways that she can sleep? Are there other things she can do that can help her sleep? Yes, there are so many other things she can do that can help her sleep, but it's not magic. You don't expect that it's going to work overnight. So these are patterns we begin to look at. How does your day go? So for this person, for instance, what are they like? If she's using that substance to help her sleep, she needs to check her daily routine. What do you do during the day? Is your day usually hectic? Do you exert a lot of energy? When you come back home, what are the things you see along the road? Where do you go to? Because the things that goes through our mind, sometimes you see that. That's why dreams, when it comes to dreams, it's not everything that's spiritual. A lot of the time, the things we see during the day, you have watched a movie, you have seen something, can accumulate into a dream. So the person needs to watch the pattern and check, how does my day go? What did I do? Did I exert so much energy? And then begin to check. Those days that I take this drug, why do I take them? The days I find it difficult to fall asleep, why is it difficult for me to fall asleep? So if this person can identify the pattern, and we call it triggers, what triggers, at what point do you get triggered to take this substance? That's where it comes in. Then we can now think of what are the habits that can be used to replace this. So one habit that this person can use is something we call visualization. Visualization is that, okay, we can see that Donald Trump is terrorizing everybody in the world now. Just tells you shut up, he doesn't care, America is God's own country. So you want to imagine, for instance, when you're lying on your bed, no phones, no nothing, relax your mind and just imagine Donald Trump lying on a bed. What kind of a bed would Donald Trump be lying on? Donald Trump is, like the super world power. Everybody, every country is feeling the impact of what Donald Trump is doing. So imagine yourself as Donald Trump. Imagine when you want to go to bed, the amount of attention you get. Someone will be there to lay your bed. Someone is there to help you lift your feet and put on the bed. Someone, is ensuring that your pillows are well adjusted. The bed is very comfy. The truth is that the brain cannot differentiate between real or make believe. That's why you see that actors will be acting and they can cry. Actors are acting, another actor has just died, and the actor is crying. Meanwhile, the actor knows that the person is just lying there. We are seeing it like action movies, for instance. Somebody has been shot and there's blood all over the place. And the other person gets it. Maybe it's the husband that has been shot or had an accident. And the wife gets there, is lifting the body and is crying. The man lying down is not dead. It's just a movie. We are looking at it that, meanwhile, we are still going to see the same actor that died in this movie in another movie. But while you are watching that movie, you can become emotional to the point where you can cry. The actors themselves can cry. Why? Because the brain cannot differentiate between real and make believe. That's why it is whatever you tell your brain that it accepts. So if you lie on your bed and you just visualize, oh, you are so powerful, even if your account balance is zero, imagine that you have $1 million in your bank account. Imagine that you have the best cars, you are living in a mansion, you have so many servants. That's what you are thinking about. Why you are doing that? Because it's just like literature. When you're reading a work of literature, if it's very descriptive, you see that even though there are no pictures in that story, your mind is creating the picture. That's exactly what visualization is. So you are creating the picture while lying there. I can assure you that by the time you do this for 20-30 minutes, you are going to fall asleep. Why? You are telling yourself, your brain, something good. The first time, the person may not sleep for long. If the person has been hooked, that person can sleep. Another 1 hour, the person wakes up. So at that point, the person needs an accountability partner, someone that is close by that can help monitor that. Oh, maybe the person lives together. Instead of sleeping alone, you sleep with the person. And when you wake up, the person can say, okay, what you did now, can you just try it again? So because the person has been hooked on that substance, the person may see that the sleep will not be for a long time. It's going to be cut short. But by the time the person becomes consistent, after a while, the person will realize that, oh, I don't need this again. So that's just one of the ways. So there are other ways. So it's just a question of replacing negative or bad habits with positive ones. That's all.
All right, I think from what you just said, that's where discipline plays in, because the extension of the topic also is how discipline in daily routines helps shape our future. Okay, so moving on, let's move on to the positive side of daily routines. What are the ways by which we can build daily routines for growth? Because we all know that when it comes to growth and development, it as a result of compound activities, compound of events. So, what are those daily routines that you can inculcate or integrate into your life that will help with, growth and development?
Okay, thank you very much. So one of them is journaling. Like I said earlier, everybody should journal. Journaling is very important. There are different types of journaling, but it's still journaling. In therapy, most of the time, we call it thought log, where we ask you, check your thoughts, whatever your thoughts are. Maybe you came in for therapy on a weekly, say, okay, when you're coming next week, I want to see your thought log. What are the thoughts? This person, for instance, now that is hooked on that substance, before you take that substance, can you check what's going through your mind? What are the things racing through your mind? Oh, if I don't take this, I will not be able to sleep. I'm tired. I'm this. So that's where journaling comes in. Can you just journal? Can you journal? Because what journaling does is that it helps us develop self awareness. When you write, for instance, okay, yesterday I went to a place, somebody used a foul language on me, and it made me cry. You get home, you write it down. When you are checking it tomorrow, you can ask yourself, okay, okay, somebody told me, the person said, you're stupid, and I started crying. Why did that make me cry? Am I stupid? Because you can now ask yourself that question: am I actually stupid? Is the person right? Am I a stupid person? If I'm not stupid, why did I cry? Then it can now make you reflect. Maybe someone somewhere before now has been calling you stupid, maybe as a child. Now you're an adult, you work, in an organization. You are grown adult, and your boss just looks at you in a meeting and use stupid man, stupid woman. And then you could not control yourself, you started crying. So when you write it down, when you go back again to check, you can ask yourself, oh, at that point you cannot remember, really, my grandma used to call me stupid, stupid, stupid every time, and I didn't like it. Now nobody has called you stupid for years, but somebody has now said it one day. It has triggered you. That was emotional abuse back then. psychological abuse. Now, what the person has done, that it has triggered what you went through as a child. So that's where journaling helps us develop self-awareness. It also helps us develop, identify patterns. What are the patterns? If I know, I write down how my day goes. Okay, I wake up in the morning, I did this, I had this experience, I had that experience. If you may not even have time to do it every day, but when you see the following day and you write, when you are writing, you are reflecting that, oh, I noticed that last week I cried because something, I had an argument with somebody. Yesterday again, I was in an argument and I was almost crying. Why am I crying? Or I couldn't speak for myself. Someone was talking down on me, and I was just there looking at the person. And I had the right to defend myself, and I couldn't. Why is it that I couldn't defend myself? What happened? Or I developed low self esteem. I got into, a particular setting, and I felt, I don't belong to this setting. And I remember that, oh, last month I went to a particular place, and that's the same way I felt out of place. Now you can now ask yourself, this pattern, I now have it. What is wrong with me? Why do I have this pattern? So it can help us to become more self-aware. It can help us to identify patterns. It can also help us to process our emotions. Process our emotions. Like I said earlier on, that okay, I realized that I cried last week. Maybe something happened at work. I bottled it up. I came back home and I transferred my aggression. As I'm coming home, I'm just yelling at anybody. Get out of the way, do this. And then this week again, I've done it. So why is it that I'm transferring my aggression? What emotion comes up for me? Why are those emotions coming up? So these are the things that journaling can help us do. It can make you to be self, it can help you to identify patterns, and it can help us to process our emotion. Another important one is self-reflection. Self-reflection is a habit that everybody should develop. Do you self-reflect when you do something? Do you ask yourself questions? You should be your own critic, and you should also be the one that sing your praises most. So self-reflection, it helps us to make informed decision. Your decisions are informed. It helps us to adjust where necessary. It helps us to develop a growth mindset. It also helps us to identify areas for improvement. Then the last one I'll talk about here is reading. Reading is very important. Science has proven that we don't use up to 5% of our brain till we die. So that means 95% of the brain gets wasted. And you realize that if you this essence of giving up, oh, I don't know this thing, it's because you have not put in so much effort. If you put in enough effort, if you would try harder, push yourself further, you realize that I can actually do it. So that's why reading, it helps to change your perception. It opens up your horizon. It tells you to develop critical problem solving skills. So these three are very important: journaling, self-reflection, and reading. They help a lot. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Reading, journaling, self-reflection. Usually, I would always call it self-evaluation a lot of time. It's just like the way we evaluate projects. When we do a business, we do a project, and we just evaluate and go through what we've done to see if we actually achieve our goals. So I also agree. I concur to what you said. That it is very important that we do a self-reflection and we evaluate our lives. Thank you so much for that. Actually, I have a lot of questions, but then because of our time, I would just like to end today's conversation with this very last question. And the question would be, of course, we've talked about how youth and teenagers can develop habits that would lead to their growth and also shun habits that would lead to, abuse and destruction. But let's look at the system itself. Because we also know that sometimes the system is not encouraging, just like some of the things that you've mentioned, that some of these substances are readily sold everywhere. Okay, so in about a minute or two, can we really touch on some of the things that government and some organizations like NGOs can help, can also do to contribute to a positive habit and growth of not just the youth but every individual at large.
So on the part of the government, we see that the government puts policies in place one thing we lack in Nigeria is implementation. You see, most of these sachet alcohol, I'm sorry that I have to call the name, most of them are substances that have been banned. But if you say something has been banned and someone is selling openly, how is it banned? You know, are there measures to ensure that these things are not easily reachable? Because number one, they are reachable, they are affordable. 200 naira, that's something anybody can, come across easily. That's why it's very easy. Even children are abusing the states. These ones that they smoke, they put them in small quantities. They are just too available. So can the government just help, apart from putting those policies in place? If you see something has actually been banned, can there be policies measures rather, that will ensure that they stay banned? The companies producing them, what measures are the government putting in place to ensure that the production is streamlined? What measures are they putting in place to ensure that our children do not have access to them? If they are not easily sold, I don't even know where I will advise them to sell them. But if they are not easily sold in the area, in the environment, the children do not leave the environment. They don't leave. A lot of children, when they go to school, they go to schools. Most parents choose schools that are close to the home. Very few parents travel from one local government to the other in search of schools. So these things are around us, very accessible. So can the government put measures in place? Who are the people selling them? Who are they selling to? Can it be less, available? That's one thing the government can do. Can the government and the NGOs create awareness? What is the impact? For instance, the video we talked about, the woman giving the substance to a baby. By the time the baby becomes hooked, now she will start looking for money to do, maybe the liver has been damaged, the kidney has been affected, the girl grows up to develop very negative habits, and then she's saying, oh, I don't know where she got it from. Now you are introducing something to a baby. So can there be more awareness? A lot of people don't even know the impact of what they are doing. People don't know the negative impact of these substances. And now there are people, for instance, let me take smoking, for instance. A father is smoking. We have active smokers and passive smokers. A father is smoking. It says, oh, I'm a responsible father. I don't smoke on the road. Or the wife have said, oh, whatever you want to do, I prefer you just come home and do it. Then he comes home, he's smoking. The children are passive smokers. Now, the man can live for up to 17 years smoking and nothing may happen to that man. How are you sure that the children who are passive smokers, sometimes passive smokers suffer more than active smokers? Because the active smoker is smoking and puffing out, the passive smokers, they are inhaling it. It's in the environment, it's in the air, and they're in that air, they're in that environment. So by the time you see them, they come up with negative habits, even worse than the person smoking, and you are wondering, do you smoke? Yes, they are smoking. So can there be awareness, more awareness? Can we get to the communities, to the grassroots? Because this is where the awareness is needed most. Can we enlighten them, make them see the long-term effects of those things, substances, negative habits, not doing the right thing at the right time? Can we help them see the negative effects of this thing? So that's basically what we can do. The government can put policies in place. When they put policies, they can put measures to ensure that policies are implemented. And
Mm,
NGOs create awareness. Let there
mm,
also be a safe space, a safe haven, where when people are suffering from these things, can they get help? Where can they go away from a certain environment and be in a safe space? If they are going to be returned to that toxic environment, what measures are put in place? Have they been educated? Are they aware? Self-awareness. I think those will help. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. That was very insightful, and I'm very sure that the appropriate bodies, government, NGOs, and even ourselves, of course, it's part of what we're doing to actually share more knowledge and also create awareness for all of these issues. So again, we would like to say thank you so much, Susan Adedara, for joining us on TTS podcast episode 15. We look forward to more relationship with you. I mean, having other programs with you, and of course, our team will be in contact. So, to those who are listening, this is where we say thank you so much for joining us on another interesting episode of TTS podcast, and we look forward to having you join us in other episodes to come. So, from me and from the whole team, the TTS team, we say thank you and bye.